Yes, very well paid job and a very in demand skill set. This was in 1999,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So I knew
Well, it took
if
a lot
this
of
didn't work
courage.
out, I could put on a suit, get a job in the private
Good.
sector.
Good.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So when you decided that, okay, I had to work on my ego. If I want to succeed as an entrepreneur, I had to surrender. You share with me that this always was your passion from 21. So 21 years, you all
From
you
12,
for 12. Look at this,
from
and
12.
you thought
Yeah.
that you were not good enough. Okay,
Yeah.
and this probably happened. Maybe a teacher, maybe a kid, maybe someone make a joke,
It
and
was more
that
just that the
yeah.
I was working and it wasn't happening. And I saw people around me who were more talented than me at that time.
Mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm,
just assumed that
mm-hmm,
that was a fixed thing,
mm-hmm.
that I
Yeah,
just wasn't talented enough. And I didn't realize
yeah,
that my ultimate talent was really unlimited, right? But if you give
absolutely.
up, then it is limited.
Yeah, and you see that's why you talk about mindset, right? And this has happened. It's part of the process. Okay, maybe you won't be who you are today if you didn't went to this process back then. Because now I can see you
Yes.
overconfident. Okay, which is in this industry it's very rare to find an artist with so much confidence like you have, because they are always walking in a glass. My cousin is an artist, so I've been going to art galleries since I'm a kid. So I'm very close to this world because I've been dragged into art exhibitions since I'm a little kid, because I have an artist in my family. So, you need to go to exhibitions. You have to be there, and he had to set the painting. And every time you go to see your cousin, is preparing the new exhibitions, and he's always busy with this. So he loves what he does. Yeah. However, and he's luckily that made they living out of this. Okay. And I always telling this to people, okay, because my cousin is really good, but he's not the most talented painting. If he hear me saying this, he's gonna kill me. But this is my opinion.
Well, and I have a saying too, which
However,
is, yep, okay.
however,
Yeah.
however, he sell the paintings more expensive than people that have more talent than him,
Yeah.
because he's great at PR, and he's great in being in the right place at the right moment at the right people. He's always working in the family. We're making a markup with him all the time. Oh, you spend your day in galas, all the time in galas, in party, wearing expensive clothes, and he's always telling us they are having party. I'm working. You think that I'm there in the party having fun, but this is my work. I go. This is part of my work. Well, because sometimes we're making fun of him. Look, you buying this expensive coat, and he say, well, my job requires that. So I love
Yeah, I
expensive
totally
coats.
disagree with that
Yeah.
as an approach.
Well. In that market, because you
Yeah.
said you say artists
Yeah.
lives in different houses, also
Different
different
villages.
villages. So the village that he's in is actually required that. Okay.
Yeah. But
And that is yes.
the problem with that village though is that then it depends on you being chosen by people who have the power of the influence. So who is the person, because in that village it is more about making connections and someone giving you opportunities, and then someone who's an influencer saying, oh yeah, this person is good, and that is a path. But the problem then is the power then goes into other people's hands. Now the question becomes, how do I get to be the person that someone chooses? And then it's, oh, I've got to buy the right suit. I've got to go to the right party. I've got to go to the right gala. And again, that's a path. That's not the path that I've taken, and it's not the path that I promote, because that path is very uncertain and you are not in charge of it. Other people are in charge. Other people make the decision whether you get invited to the gala, whether they make a connection with you and someone else in the gala. I really believe in the side of thing where the art speaks for itself, right? It's kind of like if you think about music, people buy Taylor Swift's music not because anybody tells them it's good. They buy it because they've heard it and they love it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the best kind of 100% bulletproof way to become a successful artist, is to create art where when people see it, they immediately go, I want to have it. They don't need someone to tell them, oh, you should buy this or buy that. And even just getting back to something else you said too is really good. One of my a saying that I love, I come up with, is that the village of starving artists is filled with really good. Because again, it's like music if you think about it. Like really good is good if you're sitting around a campfire. Really good is good if you're at a wedding. But if you want to play stadiums, you need to be great. And with art, what happens is there are millions and millions of artists out there who are really good. And when someone in this village of commercial sales is looking to buy a piece of art, say they've got $5,000, they'll go around and look at the artist's work that they like, that is really good, that's 5,000, that's in that price range. And if it's all just really good, and if they like all of the artists equally, then they're going to go for the one that's the best value, and that is the cheapest. And so then the only way to differentiate yourself from other artists at that level is to lower your prices. And then you get in a race to the bottom. That's why it's so important to work on creating a unique voice that is great, that gets that overwhelming response. Because now people don't have an option to go and buy something similar at a lesser price. Now you're the only game in town, right? If you want Bruce Springsteen to come and play your concert, there's only one Bruce Springsteen. If you want to just find a really great technical singer, you can go to The Voice or go on American Idol, and they're a dime a dozen. There's tons of them that are great technical singers. But you need that great voice with that great work with a unique voice. And if you can do that, now you have the ability to step out above and beyond all of the rest of the artists who are really good.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like we discussed, the artist, okay, has, in order to make this work, had to merge and become an entrepreneur, okay?
Yep, totally.
And have to get the product market fit, right? And exactly, there are so many different villages like you described, right? And the point I was raising is this one, right? That with my cousin, because he's great at a PR, and in that village, okay, the value of your work depends of the articles that they are posted in magazines and things like that about your work. This is how this village works,
Yep.
right?
That's not my village.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So then, and then it gets like that, and in order for do that, you have to, if you're not good at PR, which is have nothing to do with art, if you're not good at marketing and sales and being in the right moment, it's going to be very difficult. On the other hand, in your village, still we have the same thing. You have to merge the artist with an entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
How to feed the market and how to target larger volume and at a more affordable price, to which I think that
They're not affordable anymore.
well, so what? But in the what target team, for example, the market, or when you started, tell us about this, because that's the other thing. When all started, they are affordable until you reach again a sent a name, a PR. Some people are writing about your work. Then this is what increased the value of the art. Yeah. So tell us about your journey.
So when I again, I quit. I gave up on the dream when I was 21. I joined the Toronto Police Force, and then in my 30s, a good friend of mine was murdered on the job, on the line of duty.
Wow.
And that really kind of struck me, because it was like I had the plan, which was I'll do 35 years on the police force, and then I'll have lots of time to get back to my art. And when my friend was killed, I realized, I'm an artist, but I'm not painting. And I realized if that was me, when everyone was talking about me, art wouldn't even be mentioned, because most people didn't even know that that was who I was. And so I just made the decision that the only time is now. and that's all that I have. So I made a decision to get back to my art and get serious about it. And that was at the same time when I really kind of first started hearing about this whole idea of the growth mindset, right? And realizing, oh, okay, well, maybe I wasn't talented enough then, but maybe I could become talented enough. And even then, I didn't totally believe it, but a little voice in the back of my head said, well, what if they're right? What if that is right? And so I made a deal with myself where I would live my life for a year as though I believed in the growth mindset. And I happened to read a couple articles, and what I got out of it is what that means is identifying kind of the dominoes. What are the things that you are not good at that are required for you to be successful? And what are the ones that would have the biggest impact going forward if you were to master those right now? And so obviously drawing ability, I was pretty good at drawing, but I hadn't mastered it. Composition, I was absolutely horrible at. And then just trying a lot, tasting a lot of kind of ways of painting, different mediums and all that, see what I liked, gaining my experience, pushing the creativity. And a funny thing happened. Within a year, I was getting work in juried shows and I was winning awards. And then I had people starting wanting to buy my work.
Okay, let's just stop there. When this happened?
This was in around 1996, 97.
1996. Okay, so you started to paint and then people like it and you started to win awards. So then about this, I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough, other people are better than me. It's like kind of the imposter syndrome, right?
Yep.
Somehow you realize that it was not true.
Well, and I didn't believe it, but I thought, let me put it in practice and see if it works. And it was like, oh my God, it works, right? Master the skills, master the concepts, work on the things that you should improve. Instead of, and what a lot of artists do, it's like if they're not good at drawing, if they haven't, and it's a skill, it's not something you're talented or not talented at, it's a skill. So if you haven't mastered the skill of drawing, 100%. What a lot of artists do is go, well, then I'll paint abstracts. I'll avoid anything that requires drawing, right? But then they get into the situation that they don't even understand that then composition is everything because all you have is shapes, colors, values, edges. If you don't understand composition, then painting abstracts is easy. Painting abstracts that take people's breath away is one of the most difficult things you can do.
Absolutely.
But anyways, by the end of that first year, I was kind of bought in. I thought, you know what? Oh, wow. I guess this works. And then I just kept going. And then
the more you practice, the better you become.
The harder I work, the luckier I get, right?
Yes.
Like, figure it out.
Same method, yeah.
By 1999, I'd reached the point where I'd been elected to a couple national art societies in Canada. I had work exhibited in international shows and won awards. I was getting a lot of commissions. I was doing portraits at this time. And my wife, who was a banker, well, I just finished having an open house where I think I did about 30,000 in sales, and I'd just been in a big show, and I had a bunch of commissions lined up to do. And my wife said, we need to talk. This is not about if you leave the police force to paint full time, but when, which floored me because we'd had a similar conversation a couple years ago where she said, please don't ever come and ask me that because we got 2 young kids. You've got a great job. You've got a great pension. But anyways, when we had this conversation, she also said, this is not just about you being fulfilled. This is about what's best for the long-term economic interests of our family. And she said, I think there's a good chance that she was right. But here's the kicker. She said, I'm willing to take that risk as long as you commit to me right now. If it ever becomes obvious that this is not in our best interest, you'll put on a suit and get a job. And at that time, I was a fraud investigator in our commercial crime unit. I was investigating frauds over $2 million. I'd had the computer crime course from the RCMP college in Ottawa. So I had a valuable,
very well paid job, yeah.
Yes, very well paid job and a very in-demand skill set. This was in 1999, right?
Wow.
So I knew if this didn't work out, I could put on a suit, get a job in the private sector.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.